Bill's Big Bont Bash broadcasts reached Ashchain again this year, and you bet we're willing to step up to the challenge. We recovered a deprecated control unit for processing and started stripping it down into base components. At the end of last year, the Royal Archive broadcast intercepted footage from the Black Circuit, another resistance faction in the unregulated zones. It is unfortunate they were caught, but the footage proved how far you can push a single donor object, and that is shaping this build. We are not as restricted as they were, so we will use additional components where necessary, but the control unit remains the spine of the design. For anyone willing to join, here are the rules, but you should see the full Cipher sheet for complete details. As for me and my team, we were given the following Cipher keys. 20 for head, human. 6 for arms, shooter. 14 for body, wired. 12 for legs, stumps. And 18 for Flavour, killer. The first step is always the same. Break the largest components down into smaller units and learn what is actually possible. I kept the control unit's strongest shapes intact, so the final frame stayed sturdy. The Dominion calls this scrap, but in the unregulated zones, it's all we have, and having anything is freedom. In the regulated cities, they own everything and they run everything through robots, drones, and systems that do the work for you. So we choose to do it by hand. The goal was not elegance, modularity, or reasonable joint structures. The goal was a design that could survive the harsh truths of our reality. This is the part the Dominion does not understand. They optimize for efficiency, and we optimize for agency. Every cut, every pin, and every ugly reinforcement is proof the result was earned. With the bulk frame constructed, the team could finally move forward with the Cipher specifications. No matter what we add on, the core structure stays the same. The Cipher generated shooter for the arms, which means this unit was never meant to negotiate. The gun assemblies themselves stay pure to the donor, built almost entirely from control unit geometry. If the Dominion wants to measure capability, they can start here. The threat profile begins at the hands. I'll be honest, the leg value left me stumped, but it forced the design into a smarter direction. The base interface remains cut short, and mobility comes from modular prosthetics that can be swapped when the situation changes. We only had time to fabricate one set, so we chose the fastest configuration, because speed is the most reliable armor that Ashchain can afford. The Cipher generated human for the head, and I couldn't think of anything more human than a skull. The design should be an effective warning, as well as housing for a number of sensors obtained from the control unit. I originally directed the team to incorporate a skull faceplate, but it made maintenance difficult and didn't allow for access to the visual sensors, so I had it removed. Killer is not just for decoration and paint scheme. Killer is posture, confidence, and intent, and the frame has to carry that intent without collapsing under it. Strength, resolve, and aggression need structure. Bracing, proper stance, and reinforcement determine whether a threat is real or only imagined. The legs were not going to make this easy, but nothing we ever do is easy. If this is a combat unit that can't hold its stance, it's not going to hold a line against the Dominion. Before we get to systems integrations, the unit will need an independent power source capable of powering twin turbines as well as 2 energy weapons, along with all onboard computing and servos. We managed to nab a lithium fusion source from the Meng in storage. Making precision turbine engines from scrap is a huge challenge, but we've found a way to get repeatable precision using some additional materials. Hopefully, someone else in the unregulated zones can use this information effectively. The Dominion survives on automation, and that convenience has made them forget what it means to earn a result with their own 2 hands. Here, every conduit is placed manually, every routing decision is deliberate, and the body becomes wired for repairability and control. The more the Dominion delegates to machines, the more predictable they become, and that predictability is exactly what the unregulated zones exploit. This unit is not a symbol meant for parades. It is a piece of the resistance, built to exist unapproved and endure the consequences of that choice. The Dominion will call it inefficient, unsafe, and unnecessary, but those are just synonyms for autonomy spoken with an anxious voice. Bill's Big Bot Bash was sent across the infosphere to challenge us to prove what is possible. Thank you to Bill for pushing us makers to build by hand and keep the work honest. If the Omniplex is a system that decides your life for you, then this machine is the simple refusal to be decided. They live in a world where nothing can fail. We live in a world where everything can. Only one of us is prepared for what comes next.
Thank you for making time to engage with this broadcast. Your attention supports the mission of the Royal Archive. Additional gratitude is extended to Royal Archive patrons and channel members, whose contributions sustain the continued recovery and review of critical records. Full access to the Archive Discord is available for $3. Submit recommendations or concerns below. All entries are subject to review by the Royal Technocratic Dominion. This transmission is now concluded. Until next time, goodbye.